This is the Juko Rush. Welcome into the program. I'm Mike Fraser. He's Robert Williamson, way down in downtown Florala, Alabama. I'm coming to you from downtown Chicago as we talk NJCAA football, players, teams, break down the rankings, players, you name it. We talk it right here on the Juko Rush. Robert, good evening.
How you doing? You mentioned downtown Florala. Do you realize in Florala we probably got about the same number of people as you have in your condo there in Chicago?
You're probably right, but I'll tell you, things are less expensive where you're coming from. So I keep that in mind as well. Man, talk about some great football games this past weekend. Just guys that stood out on the wide receiver side. I know we were talking about this prior to the show, but look, Hutchinson, what a good-looking redshirt freshman. Trey Brown, 6 grabs, 114 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Coffeyville's Cam Paul, he's another redshirt freshman, 8 catches, 68 yards. We had a bunch of guys rushing the football for over 100 yards. How about Tyler running back, a redshirt sophomore, Lavarion Logan, 10 carries, 147 yards. Tyler is playing very good football right now, Robert.
Oh, yeah. Lost the first 2 to start the year. Won 3 in a row. Got blamed this week. Man, they're playing their best football.
And the big game last week, Iowa Western holds off Snow 31-20. That is a huge game, Robert. Iowa Western, even if they lost that game, would have given them 2. They would have still been in the hunt, but man, no room for error, and they'd been behind the 8 ball. I think that loss by Snow, they're still in good shape and in the hunt for a playoff, but I think it may have cost them a home game.
Well, and they do have to have a little help in front of them now. I mean, it's not one of those situations where they are in control of their own destiny, at least at this point in the season.
Yeah, that's right. Speaking of destinies and where people are at, let's take a look at the latest NJCAA football rankings that were released. Hutch 1, Iowa Western 2, Mississippi Gulf Coast moves up a slot to number 3, and then you see 4 and 5 with Georgia Military and Snow. Robert, what jumps out at you?
Really nothing at all from the standpoint of I anticipated this from the NJCAA. Hutch 1, Iowa Western 2, Gulf Coast moving to 3 after the loss by Snow. Snow falling out of the top 4 to the 5 spot, and then Georgia Military moving up a notch. None of that really is a surprise. As a matter of fact, the entire 15 isn't that big of a surprise. I semi-agree with the pollsters.
Yeah, I think they're spot. They've got it right. The committee's doing a great job once again at putting this together. As you see them running out the top 10 and then all the way through the top 15. The month of October is a monster month, and a lot of this will shake out as obviously as we move forward. Let's take a look at the Juco Weekly. The Juko Rush top 10. Let's take a look at that. This is where we put our top 10 teams together. I've got mine. Roberts has his. You'll see in this center, we both have Hutch at number 1. Robert, you go first. And for people viewing, the top of Roberts there where you see the Mississippi Gulf Coast logo, 2, 3, 4, and then follow all the way down. That'll keep you going with what Robert's about to tell you.
And probably what would throw some people off is that I've got Gulf Coast as the number 2 team in the country. They're unbeaten. They're playing in Mississippi. I'm putting them in the 2 spot. Iowa Western, obviously love Coach Scott Strohmeyer and the folks there in Iowa Western, but they've lost a game to Hutch. They won a game barely against Georgia Military in overtime. They won a game barely against Iowa Central. So at least for the moment, I've got Hutch 1, Gulf Coast 2, Iowa Western 3. I like Georgia Military at number 4. Their only loss was that OT game to Iowa Western, which they could have tied up if they went for 1 and maybe forced a double OT. They went for 2, lost it. Here's something that maybe we don't agree. The pollsters don't. I like Holmes at 5, and that is because, number 1, they're unbeaten. Number 2, they're playing in Mississippi. Number 3 is they've got quality wins over ranked opponents, Jones and Copiah Lincoln. Snow, I dropped them to the 6th spot. Garden City will go to 7 in my polls. Got to have Texas. I mean, that is a dynamite conference. Got to have somebody represented in the top 10. Kilgore at the moment, the best of the heap. Could change over the course of the season. Lackawanna, I know they've got a couple of losses as compared to a Northwestern with 1, but those 2 losses to top 5 teams. So I've got them at 9, and Northwest Mississippi comes in my 10 spot. Mike, how about all yours?
Yeah, mine, where I take issue with you, and again, these are two quality teams, Iowa Western and Mississippi Gulf Coast. I'm leaving Iowa Western at the number 2 slot. Their only loss was to Hutch in a game they went for 2 to try to win it. They beat a quality Georgia military football team, and they're a very good football team on top of it. They got the best quarterback in the country in Hunter Deckers. They've got tremendous defense. Or I'm sorry, a decent defense and a tremendous offense. So, I mean, I think you're a little harsh on Iowa Western. I'm a big fan of Mississippi Gulf Coast and what Jack Wright is doing. 7 years there, terrific balance, great run game. They can throw the football. Freshman quarterback, he just doesn't miss. But I'm not moving the defending champs, the back-to-back champs, out of the 2 slot after they win a football game against a highly ranked team. I got Garden City at the 4 slot. I've been high on Garden City for 3 weeks now. DeJuan Lacey rushing the football very well. And Robert, did you know that Garden City offense, yards rushing per game as a team, they rank first in the country with 318.
Who's number 2?
Glad you asked. Georgia Military at 292.
All right, now what about point total wise, scoring per game? I'm thinking that maybe they're neck and neck again, but I think Georgia Military should be the number 4 team. You think Garden City? We're going to hammer each other all season long probably on this factor.
Yeah, and Garden City defensively, 7th in the country, yielding just 226 a game, but that's a little fresh too because the schools ahead of them are these programs that just entered the NJCAA, the Andrews, the community college Christians. They're still finding their way, and their schedule just isn't to the level that some of these schools are playing. Look, Garden City getting it done. You run the football, Robert. Here's what you do. Look out Hutchinson and look out Iowa Western. This is a quality Garden City football team. They run the ball, which means they chew the clock. They've got DeJuan Lacey, who's running the football well. Now, here comes Zamari Gary. He steps up. He's probably a low group 5 guy moving on as he goes to the next level. They've got tremendous guys up front. I mean, Crosswell up front, Vincent up front, Cam Todd. These are all guys that are getting FBS offers. They are a very good football team, and what Kiyoshi Harris has done has been phenomenal. That's why I have him at the 4 slot. Love what Rob Manchester is doing at Garden City. What a backfield at Georgia Military. What Rob Manchester is doing. You got Travion Kitchen back there, 20 carries, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. You throw in Keenan Phillips, 19 carries, 87 yards with 2 touchdowns. And the trifecta, Robert, who's the other guy they got there?
Traquan Jones, who set out the ball game against Lewisburg, was the leading ground gainer going in.
Yeah, and look at it, and they're number 2 in the country at 292 yards rushing the football. I've got Northwest at number 6, quality football team. I know what Benji brings to the table. I know the D1 talent that he has, and I know how tough that conference is in Mississippi. I like Kilgore. You see, I've got Kilgore right after Northwest, and then Snow. I'm not penalizing Snow too much. They played a very good football team, and that was a 17-14 game at the half. So Snow, like I said, I think it probably cost them a home game, but they're still right in the thick of things. And then I got Holmes 9 and Lackawanna 10. Be careful with Holmes here. They're good, okay, no doubt. But understand, they've played the lower tier of those divisional teams, the Mississippi Deltas, the Oklahomas. Their last 3 games will tell the tale of the tape and how talented and what they have in the tank. Itawamba, East Mississippi, and Northwest. So they're good. Let's find out how good the month of October will dictate that. What do you think of my top 10?
Well, I take issue with 2. One is Garden City over Georgia Military, and we've talked about that. I will have to say the other is Northwest over Holmes. Now, I know there's one in the south, one in the north. Maybe hard to compare those, but again, you're looking at a Holmes to beat a Jones and a Capaya. You've looked at a Northwest Mississippi that lost Pearl River, and their only win over a plus 500 team is East Central. Otherwise, they are winning over sub 500 teams. So in my book, Holmes gets the nod over Northwest in Mississippi.
Well, the reason why Northwest deserves to be where they are, Robert, is that loss was a 1-point loss to Pearl River, and they missed a field goal. Their kicker would make that 9 times out of 10. Yes, he missed it. Yes, it goes down as a loss. But I look at the big picture, and I know Northwest. I know this football team. I know this coaching, and that's not going to push me from pushing them further down. I think you're very unkind to Northwest putting them down at the 10 slot where you're at, and I do take issue with you on that one there.
Now, Mike, get on my bad side, and I'm going to shove them out of the top 10.
They won't make the NJCAA top 15 next week, huh?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look at let's go with players of the week, Robert. I'm going to start it off, and this one here is pretty easy. I think everybody in the country knows this. There he is, Hunter Deckers, 20 of 30, 324 yards, 1 touchdown, had an interception. This guy was brought here to get into the promised land again, and that's what he's doing. Here's a young man that's on his way to probably the NFL. Not going to probably be drafted in the free, but he'll sign him with the free agency route. This guy's a quality quarterback playing against good competition. And then, again, I love what Rob Manchester has done and what his staff has done. Look at this guy here, Keenan Phillips. 187 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, just look at that athleticism in that shot right there. I mean, just the kid gets it done. He's in the hunt for the Juco Weekly Trophy. This is a guy that's playing very good football.
My 2 picks, I've got the receiver from Snow and a gentleman from Dodge. And I know both teams lost this past weekend, but quality performances from Reggie. Are we still not giving last names on Reggie, by the way?
Go for it. You want to give it a shot? Give it a shot.
Frischnecht. Reggie Frischnecht. 5 receptions, 173 yards, 34 per catch, 71-yard touchdown reception, 2 TDs total. He is one of mine, too. And then the other is from Dodge City. Of course, Dodge City got walloped by Hutch over the weekend, but Sam Brooks put together a big ball game, 14 tackles, 9 solos. He joined in with another on a tackle for a loss and a fumble recovery as well. Didn't go particularly well for Dodge City, but it went really well for Sam Brooks.
Yeah, thank you to the schools that have provided those photos for us to use. We are very grateful for that. This is the Juko Rush. It's brought to you by Pepsi and Allen Beverages down in Gulfport. Man, they understand the importance of a community college education and the importance of community college athletics. Allen Beverages is a Pepsi bottler, and they've been doing business since 1947. Robert, you know about Darion White, don't you?
Man, I like this guy. I like this guy. I like the way he plays football. I like his attitude, his mentality, his toughness.
6'2", 215. Good-looking linebacker for Tyler. Redshirt sophomore, had 10 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 2.5 TFLs, an FF as well. And he sat down with the Juko Rush. Darion, you and your teammate, that's where I want to start. You and Will got one heck of a competition going. You guys are always up there. You're up there tops and tackles. What's that chemistry like between you and him?
Me and Corn, we have a great chemistry on the field. Always communicating during the week, making sure that we're ready for our opponent. Getting in the film room, watching film, getting all the little tendencies out the way. And yeah, me and Corn, that's my brother. Yes, sir. We make plays together, and that's my dog. Yes, sir.
Darion, I got to ask you, the start of the season a little rough, Dodge City, Georgia military losses, and then you reel off 3 big wins in a row. Was there kind of this come to Jesus type meeting after the 2 losses, and you guys said, hey, we got our backs against the wall, and it's us against the world, and now you're on this roll? Was it kind of that attitude or mentality after the opening losses?
Oh, yes, sir, most definitely. Yes, sir, most definitely. Everybody felt it when we got in that meeting room Monday to talk over the game and correct our mistakes. And that week of practice, we most definitely had to practice a little different, carry ourselves a little different, and just work harder. We realized that we are far from over. We just now scraping the surface, and we just had to make corrections. And it's just the little thing, get the little things right. Yes, sir. We like I said, those first 6 games, we were having a lot of post-snap and pre-snap penalties that were costing us, I feel like, in the long run. And we even got a lot better, way more better at that. So, yes, sir, we just developing as a team in the whole.
How much pressure is applied to you beyond wanting to play great football and help Tyler win a conference title and get to a championship game. But the fact that you've also going to decide at some point where you're going to play football next year. So when you're performing on the field, it's not just for Tyler, but it's for Darion too. So
Yes,
how much pressure is there, and where are you headed or possibly headed?
I always say it's just another game. We at the end of the day, we're playing a game, just a regular game that God has blessed us to play. And so I always come into a game we're well-minded, just really relaxed. Never too much pressure on me. I feel like I'm built for the moment. Yes, sir. I'm made for this. I'm built for the moment. This is just what I do. Yes, sir.
Wait, 10 tackles last week, 2.5 sacks, 2.5 TFLs, 1 FF. Have you hit your stride? Are you peaking right now?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm peaking. I'm not stopping no time soon. None of my players on my defense are stopping. None of the offense is stopping. We're rolling. We're rolling, and we getting better day by day, week by week. Yes, sir.
Lastly, what's your experience been like playing Juco football? For example, with the portal and everything going on there, I just think Juco guys are hungrier. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yes, sir. Me personally, love Juco. Love the grind. Love the wheel. Because like they say, if you can make it, I remember one of my coaches told me, if you can make it in Juco, you can make it wherever you go next, wherever you decide to go next. So love the Juco grind. Love everything that comes with it, and love my brothers that I've met here. I've met some great guys, great coaches, and that helped me develop into the player I am, the person I am, the leader I am. And yes, sir. I've loved the Juco grind, and with the portal, it helps. It definitely helps. Juco get out, and most definitely got some guys in Juco that are just hungry, waiting for the opportunity to shine and get the lights on them, spotlight on them.
Look, how good is the Texas League? Some people kind of don't really view it as a strong conference. I just think it's because you guys beat each other up. I think it's one of the upper conferences in the NJCAA. You playing it, you tell us.
Oh, it's tough. Most definitely. You definitely have tough opponents. Definitely have guys in the trenches that can get the work done. Definitely have good receivers. So yes, sir. It's a pretty tough conference. Yes, sir. To go undefeated in the conference is definitely a task. And you have to be more than locked in with the team. Team has to be locked in, all on one accord, one goal in mind. So yeah, the Texas League is no pushover. There's no pushover, most definitely.
Darion, thanks for your time. Wish you all the best.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that. Yes, sir.
And that's Darion White, our player feature, powered by Pepsi. Darion, this Pepsi is for you. Congratulations. Heck of a game last week. Heck of a season you're having. Again, 10 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 2.5 TFLs, and an FF. This Pepsi is for you, Darion. Darion White, our player feature this week. Robert, what another terrific young man.
Seems like week in, week out, we're talking to guys, not only great football players, great young men as well.
And as we head to the break, let's take a look at some of the other top players around the NJCAA throughout the conferences around the
Want your team or business to truly stand out? Look no further than Sport FX Designs. They specialize in high-impact sports graphics that demand attention. Whether it's custom animated logos, sleek animations, or full branding solutions, Sport FX Designs delivers professional, eye-catching visuals that elevate your brand. Head over to www.sportfxdesigns.com and see how they can bring your vision to life.
And Blake, thank you for jumping on board on the Juco Rush. Robert, you look at some of the team passing numbers here. Trinity Valley, since Champ Harris is really last 3 weeks putting it together, they're 327 yards. That leads the country. I mean, Iowa Western's at 321, followed by Cisco at 296. And our guy, the Cisco kid, Landon Vessel out there for Cisco College, making it happen.
Oh, man. And that's why I love watching Juco football. You are going to see quality competition. You're going to see quality level players. And as a matter of fact, if you miss a Juco game that is in your neighborhood, you probably have missed a future NFLer.
Yeah, I tell you what I'm looking at, too. One game on the schedule in a couple of weeks, Robert. Listen to this number here. The Colwyn Wolves, they play Mississippi Gulf Coast coming up here, not this weekend, but next week. They're only yielding 37 yards a game on the ground.
Wow.
That's a big one for Trey Hall. That's a big one. Trey's one of those guys on the Juco Weekly Trophy chase. He's right there. That's going to be a monumental game, not only for his team, but also for the Juco Weekly Trophy. Speaking of the Juco Weekly Trophy, let's jump into that and take a look at our 5 guys that we think are strong contenders for the Juco Weekly Trophy on this trophy chase. Robert, let's talk about your guys.
Well, one of my guys is on everybody's list. Yours included. Hunter Deckers, the quarterback at Iowa Western. Man, this guy's got all the tools, doesn't throw interceptions, throws touchdowns. He is just a dynamite player who might have looked rusty for a drive or two in the season opener, but from that point on, he's been rolling. Wayman Jordan, not a big game last week for Hutch, but look what Hutch did to Dodge City. So he limited playing time for Wayman Jordan, but Wayman has had a great year, and don't let that 75 yards on 10 carries against Dodge City fool you. Darion Bryan, wide receiver from Highland. Man, this guy has got about 550, close to 600 yards receiving, 22 yards per catch, 4 touchdowns. He's been a big reason of the Highland success. Got to go to defense. Holmes, they're unbeaten. Here's one of the reasons why. Andreas Giles, he has returned 4 interceptions, 3 of the 4 that he's made, 4 touchdowns. Then, of course, Keenan Phillips. You've already talked about him in your player of the week. The guy leads the NJCAA in touchdowns scored. He is a freshman, and he has come on to make a big impact at Georgia Military College.
Yeah, all quality guys there. Hunter Deckers, 1,909 yards, 14 touchdowns to just 3 interceptions. He's completing 66% of his passes. Trey Hall leads the NJCAA in rushing yards with 687, 8.7 yards getting it done, rushing the football. Wayman Jordan Jr., an anchor for that Hutchinson squad, 8 touchdowns, 9.1 yards per carry. Defensively, I like Tavion Atkinson, 8 sacks. A lot of great defensive guys, though. Darion White, Will Cornelison, the Augustus brothers, Jaden Walker down at Itawamba. I mean, the list goes on. And then I'm going to go Titus Myers. Look, Fresh Walters is right there for Iowa Western, but those guys, they rotate week to week on having exceptional games. They've all had great games each week, and Titus, 30 catches on the season. Then a look at the Juco Weekly Trophy chase. And Robert, ton of guys chasing that trophy.
Oh, and these are the 5 that you and I are mentioning. There are plenty of guys that are waiting in the wings and will be mentioned before the season comes to an end.
And 2 guys we like to talk about each. Stock rising. This is a segment where guys that are flying under the radar, maybe not getting the publicity they deserve, but on the Juco Rush, we find them, we promote them. Robert, you're 2.
2 guys that epitomize a stock rising category. Justin Bland at Division III DuPage. So he's a guy that's playing without a scholarship, looking to be able to play beyond junior college level. And how he's putting together some numbers, nearly 300 yards passing, 18 touchdowns and 1 interception. He's a redshirt freshman. He is one of 2 I'm looking at. The other is the Garden City running back, Zamari Pelote Gary. This guy hasn't carried the football in 2 games, 1 carry in one, 5 in another, 8 in the other. And lo and behold, last week, 21 carries, 128 yards. That is a stock rising running back from Garden City.
Well, you're right in that offensive line, too. I'm going to piggyback on that Garden City. I mean, you've got Crosswell, Vincent, and Todd. These are all guys up front, 310, 315, 320, opening up those holes for those running backs in DeJuan Lacey and your guy, Zamari Gary. My two, I'm going with Sincere Bowers. We talked about him, Iowa Central, talented player, leads the country in all-purpose yards. And then Reggie. Just a one, that's how good this guy is. Everybody just refers to him as Reggie, and he's my guy. 5 catches, 173 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Leads the country with 8 touchdown grabs, but his stock is catapulting, just flying here as we hit the halfway point of the campaign and getting it done for Snow College. All right, let's jump into our key games of the week as we wrap it up, Robert. Let's take a look. Let's see what you got here. Oh, interesting. Okay. What about your two? What do you have?
Well, it looks like you and I agree on one of the two, Tyler and Blinn. I think Tyler wins the game. They've won 3 in a row, taking on a Blinn that stumbled last week. Tyler's on a roll. Don't be too surprised if Tyler is in the conference championship at the end of the year. Then I got Mississippi Gulf Coast and East Central, and here's why I've got this as one of my key games. Could Mississippi Gulf Coast look beyond East Central? East Central is looking for a marquee win to say, hey, folks, we're part of the Mississippi Conference as well and deserve to be. I don't think they do. I think Mississippi Gulf Coast wins it, but I think East Central is going to give them a run for their money on Thursday night.
Oh, I do too. Jonathan Webster, the head coach for East Central, getting it done. Jack Wright, just Jack Wright, 7 years there and just wins. My game's Tyler and Blinn. I'm going to take Tyler, and then I'm staying in Texas. Trinity Valley and Navarro, going to be a great football game. But I like what Champ Harris is doing, and I think Trinity Valley is hitting their stride. You know, timing is everything. I think they catch Navarro at the right time. I like Trinity Valley winning this football game. Hey, the Juco Rush is powered by Allen Beverages down in Gulfport, Mississippi. They understand the importance of a community college education and community college athletics. Allen Beverages is a Pepsi bottler, and they are proud supporters of Juco athletics. Tip of the cap to them. Robert, man, you go into this week, the month of October, every week the drama unfolds, and it's awesome to watch and see how things play out.
Love Juco football. Catch a game in your neighborhood. If not, you can find it online somewhere, I assure you.
Robert, we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, Mike. See you then.
All right. So long, everybody. This has been the Juko Rush.